I am not usually someone in favour of selling the best players in your squad. In spite of the fact that Miles Maycock left us in January, going into this transfer special, I didn't think I was going to cash in, really. Following on from the FA Trophy final, of course, last episode, if you didn't see it, you should go watch it. The bank balance looks healthy, £600,000. And in spite of all of that, there is a bid that has come in that I think I just have to take. Brian Okonkwo, Preston North End of the Championship. They've offered me £140,000, 50% of any future profit, and I get him on loan back for one more year. This guy has his contract running out in 2 years' time. He was asking for £800 when I tried to renew it. We can't pay players £800. So ultimately, to get one more year of service from him, to get £180,000, and to have that profit sell on, I'm going to be honest, I just can't say no to it. And I've already delayed this a few times. It's now the 13th of June. I'm going to hit accept. We're going to run the intro. I don't know if that's going to set the tone for today's transfer special. I wasn't planning on doing a load of wheeling and dealing. We might be about to do a whole lot more. Let's get into things. Yes, folks, how is it going? Welcome back to Park to Prem. Today is episode number 20, and Brian, he's left the building, then he's come back into the building. You know the Simpsons meme with Grandpa going in and out of the club? That is basically Okonkwo here. He is back here for one more year. He's in Preston North End's under 21s. I hope he develops. I hope they sell him on for some profit and we reap the benefits. But for the here and now, that sale sees our transfer budget raised to £180,000. I will probably jig most of that into the wage budget. At this level, I feel like free transfers is just the way to go. But all of a sudden, we have £700,000 in the bank. Now, of course, when we sold Maycock, we spent a load of money reinvesting it into the infrastructure here at the club. That is still something I would very much like to do, but I am conscious of the fact that as we go into the Vanarama National League, the kind of money scaling changes a little bit. Just for some context, our current annual wage spend sits at £259,000, so around 260k, give or take. And if we look at the Vanarama National League North, which I think is the league we're going to be moving into, Boston United, who were just promoted from this division, have a wage budget that is double as currently. The reality is we are making a big step up. A big sale like the one we've done with Okonkwo is going to open up the opportunity to spend a couple £1,000s more each and every week, which I think in terms of strengthening the squad, I mean, you can see here, it's going to make a mighty big difference. Now, I have been pretty tight with my money and sensible with my money, I feel like, in this save game. Our current highest earner is on £400. Of course, as a reminder, in Football Manager, players do base their wage demands on players of a similar squad status and how much they're on. So I don't intend on going out and throwing a load of crazy money at players. The board expectation, just as a reminder for the coming season, however, is to gain automatic promotion to the National League. So there is a lot of pressure on us for this coming year. In spite of all of that, though, when I sold Maycock in January, we did make a few new additions to the squad. I wasn't intending on doing a load of transfer business, but the Okonkwo deal opens up the door to do a little bit more. Of course, he still holds down the fort in goal. In terms of the defence, I do feel like Karon Samuels and Talon are probably the two centre-backs I have to go with. I feel like at the lower levels, you can afford to have a player who's maybe a bit of a passenger for open play, but can be that weapon from set pieces. I do feel like now Carl Wright's time in the first team as a regular probably has come to a close. That said, we've got him on £50 a week for the next 4 years, so it's not like we need to get rid of him right away. Of course, towards the end of last year, we picked up Andrew Slate, who I think is an incredible player. At 16 years old, he is pretty much the best player in this team. That really is saying something. Capped for the under-19 Scottish national team. Need to get him into the regular starting 11 fray. At right back, of course, Carl Jones joined us, you might remember, in January. He was one of the players I brought in when Maycock left the building with that money that we had opened up. Our right back for a lot of this year has been Alex Bradley, and if I just compare him with Jones, who we've brought in, you can see Jones from a defensive point of view is much, much better. I'd argue that Bradley, I suppose, going forward is better. In spite of that, though, he has been asking to leave the club. He wants a new deal, which I'm not willing to give him. There is a little bit of interest, and if I could get in the region of £20,000, I probably would let him go and then go out and target a right back as one of our big priorities this year. Another man who joined us midway through last year was Miguel Freckleton. This guy at 23 years old is a phenomenal player, super consistent performer, lots of potential. potential. Really like him as a defensive midfielder option, but of course can also slot in at centre-back. And in terms of the midfield, I like this too. Somewhat conscious of the fact that Gucci's contract's up at the end of the year. Know that we're going to have that up for a renewal, and that could be a source of friction, especially if he expects a wage rise, which I am expecting a lot of our players in our team to want. Holchuddy has been immense this year, continuing to develop. The 18-year-old as a man who I want to continue to give that regular first-team football to. Just as a little reminder, if we go to the Media Dream 11, he is in the Media Dream 11. I think that is a testament to his overall ability. And of course, Kelly, who came in that same intake as Maycock as a centre mid option for us, really did fill the Maycock boots over the course of the second half of the year. We have him. We also picked up Isaac Pritchard, you might remember, from Ross County, around a similar time to offer that little bit of depth. I feel like when you compare the two players, given the fact that Pritchard is 2 years younger, maybe I have got to look to prioritise him a little bit more in the starting 11. And in terms of striking options, McAvoy is still the top earner at the club. He's only got 1 year left on his contract, similarly to Gucci. The other man alongside him is Oyetunde, a player who has interest in him. I'm not really in the business of selling my best players, but given the fact he's got a valuation of potentially £100,000 plus, I would be half tempted to cash in. And whilst it might seem silly, with the likes of Brian already leaving the club, to be looking to maybe sell another one of our players, I think something that we've proven during our time here at the club is that we're quite capable of providing a conveyor belt of talent. It is difficult to generate money at these levels, and realistically, selling on players is the best way to do that. I do want to continue to maintain these facilities, improve these facilities, and we have still got these future stadium plans. We're still searching for a site. I don't know if much is going to come of that. Maybe something will happen with regards to that today. But we might not be at Butlin Road that much longer. And if we do move stadiums, we might feel a little bit of financial pain because of that. Now, bizarrely, going into this summer transfer window, we do already have a first-team squad of 25 players. We are a team that's in a really, really good spot. One player whose contract I have renewed is Ovendale as our third-choice goalkeeper. He was previously, I think, on maybe £80 or £100 a week. I've offered him a new deal where he gets paid £20 a week and a big appearance fee. But as our third-choice goalkeeper, I feel like he's never going to be near the first team. So this is just a really good deal for us that actually saves money. Now, bizarrely, alongside the Okonkwo sale, I have actually made 4 signings already this summer, but they are all youth team players for the future. I think the most notable is Paul Clark. He is a player who, again, he's one of the Ross County graduates. We have 3 former Ross County players in our team. If we had a bit of an injury crisis, he could certainly do a job for us. He is currently on £5 a week, but that is, of course, without his senior deal kicking in yet. When he turns 17, he will be on £40 a week. Lyle Lennon is another Scot that we picked up. This guy wasn't released by Ross County. Livingston let him go. At 18 years old, I just wanted a bit more depth for the youth team. I want to think that we can turn our academy into a little success story that runs alongside the main team. The other 2 players I've picked up, just depth players. I realised I had 1 centre-back in the under-18s team after I did a bit of a culling and a sorting out. I don't know about anyone else. I sometimes get in that situation with the under-18s team where there's loads of players whose contracts expired. I kind of forgot we're laying around. So we let them go. Gary Irwin's come in to be a squad centre-back option. The other man we picked up is Sam Davis. He's a body at the back. I don't know. There's something quite satisfying about having a well-organised under-18s team, and I do want to make a bit more of a focus on them. I want to see our under-18s team make it out of the Division 3. It is going to be tricky to do that, I think. At least initially and at least immediately. Maybe they'll surprise me in the coming year. With our current facilities, with the intakes we've been getting, I want to think our under-18s team can make it to the top of English football one day. I need to get to the tick-over date, the day where we're officially promoted and all the reputation and stuff updates. I have been having a little look for players that might be available as free transfers. I feel like if there's one thing that we've learnt through the likes of Brian and also through the likes of Oyetunde, it's the fact that there are players out there who get released at the end of June, don't find clubs immediately, and will sign for ridiculously cheap contracts. That is kind of a trend that I'd like to continue to pursue because I feel like it has worked really well for us. And following on from that sale, if you were wondering, Jack, can you make any board requests yet? I want to improve the youth recruitment. The option's not there yet. I could ask for more wage budget and transfer budget, but I don't think we need it. And in terms of facilities, I can't ask for anything there either. Can I ask for anything new? I could ask for a new contract. So up at the end of the current year, but I don't feel like I need to sort that right away. Just looking at my manager, by the way, National B licence has been completed. I feel like I've got better since we were last here. This screen almost looks impressive now. 68% win percentage, very nearly nice. And in terms of the manager timeline, you can see here we've won a lot of awards already. I feel like our manager career is starting to take shape all of a sudden. I don't know about anyone else, I'm dying to know. Are we going to go into the National North or the National South? Let's go forward and find out together. I thought it'd be nice today just to start the episode with a little bit of a roundup of the squad, the youth team, where things are at behind the scenes. I feel like sometimes, especially with the tail end of this year, where we did get through the last few months a little bit quicker, it's nice to be reminded of a bit of a who's who, the starting 11, where we're at, especially if you're someone who maybe doesn't catch each and every episode. I know there are some people who are just here for the transfer specials. I assume that in spite of the fact you are here just to see me have meltdowns and spend money, it is somewhat useful to run through the squad. Let me know what you thought of the opening of today's episode down in the comments. I'm being told that the new season is drawing near. The beginning of pre-season starts in 2 days. Any day now, we're going to find out what division we're in and get our first indicator as to, are we actually any good? What do the media think we can do? Okay, well, this is annoying. Daniel Oyetunde bid from Tranmere Rovers. Now, Tranmere, third in League 2, promoted to League 1, and they want him. I guess that's an indicator of how good he is as a player. He says he'll be unsettled if he doesn't get a chance to go. What was their bid? I don't think their bid was very good. How much does he want to leave for? I'm going to go for 250k, 220, 230? If I sold him for 230k, would that be reasonable? I feel like 230k, it'd be difficult to say no, wouldn't it? Bizarrely, I've just noticed here, squad comparison, the second striker in our rankings is a player currently in my under-18s. I don't think this guy is actually that good, and obviously if Oyetunde left the club, we would be looking to sign a striker, I think, to be alongside McAvoy and Gillen. I mean, I'm saying all of this. Don't even know if Tranmere are going to make a bid for him. I'm going to try and sneak in a loan back deal as well, because why not try and sneak back in a loan back? I want 230k. They've locked in 185. Doesn't match the valuation I gave. It's the start of pre-season. Might live to regret it. Not going to sell him for that price. Our scouting budget has been updated for the coming season, so that is interesting to know. I have got some scout assignments already on the go. In fact, if we just have a look at our recruitment focuses, looking at wing-back options, apparently there's nobody fits the bill there. Centre-mid options, we're looking at a few different players. Strikers, I've already preliminarily kind of started looking at players at the risk that we do lose Oyetunde. We're already looking at Scottish talents. Lewis McMullen. He does not look nearly as impressive as I thought he was going to look, given he has 5-star potential. But yeah, I am already starting to do some recruitment stuff, and I have got a general just recruitment focus here on just young players with talent, one of which I have had my eye on for a while, Sam Pitt. If I lost Oyetunde, Pitt might be the man I look to bring in. Not a dissimilar mould of player. Plays for Bury, of all teams. His contract's actually up next week. Maybe I should be making a bid. Bury, by the way, you might remember, they were a League 1 team, got demoted, and basically it's a whole new club. I think officially it is the same club. It always gets a bit murky, doesn't it, with Phoenix clubs and clubs being reborn. They've got mad training and youth facilities for a non-league team like ourselves. Alex Pitt's their key man. Can I just approach to sign him? How much does his agent think he's going to want? 1.5 to £2,000 a week wages. I can't afford that. He's currently on £65. That is a completely unreasonable demand. Apparently our stature has increased significantly. Wolves have made the biggest steps forward, and Man City is still the most reputable. Leeds United, they've just been relegated again from the Premier League. They're just a yo-yo team at this point. The board have actually changed their expectation to reach the playoffs, which actually is fairly achievable. 6 teams make the playoffs in the National League North. Top 7 are going to have a shot at promotion. So that is slightly more manageable than them just expecting us to get promoted. Fixture-wise, first game of the season is going to be against Banbury United, who were promoted with us from our Southern League division. Kind of weird that we were in a division called the Southern League division. Now we play in the Vanarama National North. It's almost like we're not even in the South. Our under-18s team, I very much want to keep playing in the youth levels. And elsewhere you can see here lots of players with new contracts that were preliminary agreed, all getting signed. That's what we want to see. So media prediction for the current year currently sits at 7th. Of course, 7th place would be a playoff spot. In terms of the season preview here, it does show us finishing 5th. Worth noting that Hyde, that were promoted alongside us from the same level, albeit an adjacent division, they're also predicted to do really, really well. Altrincham and Harrogate, who were relegated from the National League, the two favourites for promotion. Do we have anyone in the Media Dream 11? We have Oyatunde and we have Slate. Kind of cool that Slate at 16 is in the Media Dream 11. He really is bloody good. I've just realised something as well. In the Vanarama National League North, we're only allowed 5 players on the bench, not 7. That might be a bit annoying. Saying all of that, maybe it's far from the end of the world. I'm just thinking about the 5 players I'd have on the bench and who they'd be. I feel like Matty Waters is an ideal candidate, given the fact he can play left back and right back. Of course, our centre-backs do have a lot of versatility, and our full-backs can also move inside, so I don't feel like I need a centre-back on the bench. Ben Perry's a good, versatile, well-rounded centre-mid backup. Pritchard can be a more attacking centre-mid option to bring in. And then, of course, Norman Hamilton, who I absolutely adore, the man who came through our youth intake last year and immediately had an impact. I mean, I have to find a way for him to go into the team, don't I? If Oyatunde left the club, could I just rely on Norman? It would perhaps be a gamble, but yeah, it would be a gamble. I don't think I should do that if Oyatunde does leave. Okay, it's the 30th of June. The season is about to officially kind of tick over into the new one. There'll probably be a fair few players released. What I'm just wondering is, on my Wonder Kids non-league watch list thing, you know, of young players I'm looking at, is there anyone here who I should be having a look at? Of course, this is a list that we made, and I'm keeping an eye on. I will keep an eye on Sam Pitt, and if he leaves, although from the looks of things, he's just decided to stay at the club. His agent said he'd want over £1,000. I can't be bothered negotiating with him. Dan Cleary is another player on this list of, you know, the new gen shortlist. Sadly, he only plays as a winger, which is a bit annoying because he's a great player, but he doesn't fit the system. The other man here is Murphy Ngoma, at 18 years old, released by Crystal Palace. Looks really, really quite good. He's currently out for up to 4 weeks with a torn thigh muscle. How much is he going to want? £900 to £1,200. You know what? I'll offer him a trial. First trialist of the year. Like the look of this guy, although if he's out with a torn thigh muscle, maybe I should be worried about his injury proneness. I'm in a bit of a predicament in the sense that our squad is already around 25, 26 players. So if I do want to bring anyone in, really, it needs to kind of be one in, one out. Of course, I could look to demote some of our youth players that have kind of just snuck into the first team, and they could happily play in the under-18s. I feel like if I was going to make a shopping list of signings, centre-back to go alongside Karan Samuels is probably up there. A right-back would be nice. Maybe one centre mid, and then if Oyatunde leaves, I'm going to need to find a striker. I say if he leaves. No guarantee that any of these teams are going to make bids, but there are more and more teams in the Football League eyeing him up. Obviously, £230,000. If we receive it, would be great. In an ideal world, maybe we get him back on loan as well for the year. I don't want to alarm anyone. I've just noticed our first game of the season against Banbury is on the 1st of August. That's a really early start to the season. I guess it's just with how the calendar lines up. But it means I've got a month to sort stuff here, which is not as much time as I feel like I might need. Well, this is a first for this year's Park to Prem. Finally, a job offer. This is the first job offer I've received. Tamworth, of our own division, want me to go to them. Media prediction a second. I'm looking at this team and I'm just sat thinking, you've been stuck in the division that we've just been promoted into for the last 3 years, and whilst you're a good team, it's not really an upgrade on where we're already at. The bank balances are kind of similar. I like our younger squad, so it's not even worth attending the interview, is it? I'm just going to decline this. I wish it had been a more exciting, tempting offer, but Tamworth is not that. Also, it's that time of pre-season again where I've just got a load of players joining on trial. And if you're wondering about the players I'm trialling, I just looked for players who have contract status expired, age at most 21, and then sorted them by world rep. Whether or not any of these guys are actually good, I suppose we're going to find out in a moment. If I want to judge the trialists I've just brought in purely off star rating, yeah, a lot of them would be really, really good. Now I'm concerned about their wages. I have noticed as well, a familiar face, last year's Park to Prem, I was going to say Hall of Famer. Might be generous to call him a Hall of Famer. George Urphy. This guy was very, very good for me last year. Around this level as well, actually. I think it might have even been for the next few years. Kind of National League, League 2. He was good for us at Guernsey. How much does he want a week if I just want to try and sign him? He wants to be a star player. He does have inconsistency and injury proneness. He also wants £950. George, I love you, I don't love you that much. Moonen here could be a really good centre-back option. 20 years old, really well-rounded centre-back as well, which is interesting to see. We have got a few centre-backs who have joined us here. Really, I'm looking for someone who's going to be challenging Talon for a starting spot. And whilst he's not as good kind of aerially or from a raw speed point of view, these mentals, these technicals make Bradley a tempting option. How much does his agent think he's going to want? 625 to 700 pounds a week. I feel like the issue I've got is I've got a load of players here who are interested in joining me, but they are also expecting big bucks, which I can't really afford. In some ways, it might be best off trialling these players, letting the trials expire, and then hoping some of them are still free agents in a few weeks. Nathaniel Boot is a player who I think I tried to sign in last year's Park to Prem, and he kept turning me down. Ugandan international, formerly of Southampton. Let's just skip the foreplay. How much is he really going to want it? I'm not even going to talk to his agent. I'm going to make a bid. He wants £300. That is surprisingly reasonable, especially for a player with League One potential. I'll level with you. I was expecting him to ask for a lot more. Yeah, I think I might just make a bid there of £300, see if he wants to join us. I'll offer him a 2-year deal with a contract extension after promotion. See what he's saying. He looks very, very good. I had noticed before he came on trial to us there was some interest in him. That seems to have vanished for now. Now that I've offered him a contract, I can't wait to see a queue of teams giving him contract offers. Ryan Battram here was playing for West Ham United. He is a really athletic right back, which might be a position we're looking to add a player in. Of course, last year Alex Bradley was our right back. Ryan here is almost undoubtedly an upgrade. He has no agent to talk to, so we'll just make a bid and see what he's saying. Some concerns about his injury proneness. Wants to be an important player. Wants £650. Maybe later, Ryan. Maybe later. Josh Essen is one of the older players that has come through this set of players that I've just offered trials to. He was playing for Wolves. Had a spell in the Welsh Premier League on a couple of occasions. Never broke into the Wolves team. He actually looks pretty good. Super consistent performer. Could play centre attacking mid. Good player for most National League sides. I am just curious, if we compare him with Oyatunde, very different kind of players, but certainly of a similar overall ability, how much is he going to want? £350? I'm going to try and get him down to 300 and make a similar bid to the one I made to Boot, I think, here. Of course, with these players, I don't necessarily have to sign them, although Josh Eston here is making it difficult to sign him. £325 will settle on, but for the quality they offer, for the fact they're National League quality players, if I can get them on £300 a week, even if it means changing some player roles slightly, probably worth looking into. Of course, McAvoy has been a sensational goal scorer for us for the last few years. I do have to question, is he going to be able to continue to step up? And if he isn't, would bringing in someone like Essen, who's not too dissimilar, would that be a silly decision? And I think the answer is probably not, especially for that £325 a week. That would be a really good deal. Angel Ortiz here is an interesting option. I feel like this guy might not even get a work permit. I could be wrong here. Apparently good National League player with League One potential. That seems to be the benchmark of a lot of these players. And yeah, as I suspected, he wouldn't get a work permit. Probably should have included some work permit filters before I trialled all these players. Murphy Ngoma, who's the guy who was playing for Crystal Palace, who's injured with the torn thigh muscle, the first guy I offered a trial to, I do really like the look of. I can't suspect anyone's going to make a bid for him until he's fully fit, so I think for now, I'll hold off making an offer for him. But if I was looking to add a bit more depth in the centre-mid department, he'd be a really good fit, I think. In perhaps the most predictable outcome ever, Nathaniel Boot now has various bids on him, and so does Essen. So they are, for the most part, from teams in our own division and immediately around us. I'm going to offer him slightly more. I'll go up to £400. That's what McAvoy's on. I feel like that would be a good soft limit to have. I feel like realistically, I'm only really looking at 4 major first-team players. So if we assume that we're going to pay 4 players £400, which I don't think we will, we'd still be comfortably under our wage budget. So we can afford to throw a little bit more money, but these players, whilst they're good, they're not the kind of players I feel like I should be breaking the bank and throwing silly money at in order to get. There will undoubtedly be some similar options available. We just have to find them. I am keeping an eye open at some of the other players here that are being recommended to me. There's some interesting options out here, but whenever I go and look at their kind of wage demands, they just want way too much money. So this guy here, Daliwal? I've definitely not said that name correctly. This guy's a great left back, loads and loads of potential, wanted by some fairly significant teams, but if I just go and try and offer him a contract. I've already asked his agent. His agent was telling me he wants like £700. Yeah, £625 for this guy. I mean, he's a good left back. What I could do is move Slate to play centre back if I wanted to bring in a left back option, but I don't think he's a realistic signing anyway. I'll offer him £500, I guess, and just see if maybe he wants to join. But I think realistically speaking, for a moment, he is just going to be too much for us. £500 is already an amount that kind of makes me shudder and feel uncomfortable. He wants £600. I'll bid £550 because I know he'll accept that. But there's no way in hell. I feel like I was going to say he'll accept that. Is he worth it? Maybe he's worth it. Maybe I'm just talking myself into it with Ricky. I think really I'm just setting myself up for heartbreak. I mean, the good news is as I scroll through all these players that have been scouted, there is no shortage of players out there. It's just about finding the ones who actually want to join me for a reasonable amount. Nathaniel Booth accepts terms of Scunthorpe United. Scunthorpe were promoted 2 years ago from the National North. Last year they were in the National League. A low-end team, has to be said. They finished 16th. The fact that they can obviously sign him for £700 kind of gives you an idea of the golfing class that there is starting to be between ourselves and teams around us. I feel like ultimately we've just got to be patient and find the right players. I don't want to spend money for the sake of it. Apparently, Ricky Downywell would like to propose some modifications in the contract we've offered. He currently sees what is a better offer on the table, but if we opt to give him improved terms, he'll want to join us. Am I going crazy thinking that that's absolute insanity that this has happened? He has championship potential. How much does he actually want? That's what I'm now worried about. He wants £625. He wants to join us over other teams. He's picking us. And that makes it very tempting to make him an offer. I talked about the need earlier to bring in a centre-back. And what I would probably do here is move Slate in to play left centre-back. Then we'd have Samuels at right centre-back, which I know he's left-footed, but he did play there last year for us. And then Talon would move down to the bench. And the new bloke, Ricky, would play left-back. And I do like the look of potential on this guy. And the fact he wants a long-term deal. Am I being scammed? Is £625 too much? If I give him this, everyone else is going to want way more money as well, which could be a problem. Remember earlier when I said, yeah, setting a soft limit of £400? Yeah, that's gone out the window quickly, hasn't it? Oh, do I want to make this signing? £625 for a left back. Would you rather have Slate? I think you probably would, considering he's 16. But Ricky's 18 with championship potential. I mean, they're probably both quite good. It's just a case of, do I want to nuke the wage budget for it? He's got offers from National League teams, League 2 teams, teams in Wales. For whatever reason, he's decided he wants to join us, and I really wish he hadn't made this decision. It's a 3-year contract. It's a long-term deal. He's got mad potential. There's some big teams that have been looking at him in the championship. Oh, I might live to regret this. I think I'm going to sign him with a view to sell him in a year. Is that stupid? Because I think if I sign him, there's going to be teams interested in him. And then potentially I can just look to sell him on. He's set to join us. It's so much money. Is it too much money? Maybe. But I just feel like I have to do it. He hasn't got an injury history to speak of. He is a very good player who will improve the starting 11. The wages concern me. But he's 18 years old. He's one for the future. Why am I even considering this? My primary concern here is as soon as I have someone on £600, there's going to be a lot of other players who want significant wage rises. I'm just wondering, Gucci, right? You're an important first-team player on £250 a week. Your contract's up at the end of the year. How much money do you want for a renewal? 575. And I guess Rio would be in a similar boat. Yeah, 550 to 650. I mean, if that's how much key players are going to want going into the new year, maybe it is just worth signing Ricky and accepting that I'm going to be offering wages like this to a few first-team players in the next 12 months anyway. I might live to regret it. This might be stupid. I'm confirming the deal. I'll admit it. I've spent way longer umming and ahhing about that transfer than I ever should have done. Not even for dramatic effect, can I just add. Because genuinely, it is just a headache of a transfer. But as much as I want to keep the wage demands down of our players, it's pretty apparent that players are going to be asking for these kind of wages now we're in the national regional leagues anyway. And for a player who's got serious potential, who wants to join the club as a reminder, maybe it's worth just throwing the money at him. I mean, Slates, you are now a centre-back for us, which is absolutely fine, because as good as he is as a wing-back, I think he's equally adept to play centre-back with his current physicals. First signing of the transfer window, left-back. Tick that off the shopping list, as if, you know, left-back was what I was looking for going into things today. I am now just wondering with Essen, should I maybe up his wages to like £500, you know, rather than the £400 we were offering him before? Well, I was offering him a little bit more. It's not like we're really tight on the money. The reason I didn't want to spend the big money was because I was concerned about the knock-on effect it might have on other players' wage demands. But having checked a few players anyway, I think they're going to be asking for that kind of money, so we might as well just accept that and get on with things. Do still need a right back. Do still need a right back, mind you. I'm getting itchy fingers. I think I'm just going to make an approach for Ngoma and see how much he wants. He now wants to be a regular starter, so he has lowered his expectations. If I suggest squad player, he didn't like that. First team regular. What are you asking for? £400 a week. That is very, very reasonable. Have got some concerns about his injury proneness because he had that torn calf muscle. Sorry, what have I just witnessed with these negotiations? Am I tripping? He was asking for £400. I lowered it to £350. Now he wants £950. I'll offer you the £400 you asked for on a one-year deal. What are you saying? Apparently I have a friendly relationship with his agent. I don't anymore. I hate Colin Shaw. Some sad news, by the way. The long, narrow pitch we've been using for the last few years, we can't use anymore. Josh Essen has announced he's going to Forest Green Rovers in League One. They offered him £1,700 a week. I can't compete with that. So far in today's transfer special, we've signed a left back, and my best player going into this transfer special was my left back. So strong start to the season. I'll tell you what, this guy looks very, very good. Adam Abbas, he was listed under the scouting recommendations, 17 determination, 15 finishing, really good composure. Physicals are not too bad either. Has had a few minor injury scares, but he is only 19. I'm going to offer him a 4-week trial. Hopefully, he might be interested in that. No one else is showing any interest or made a bid yet, so now I've offered him a trial. I'm expecting a list of teams to pop up here, and I'm just going to be annoyed about it. I just realised something. I've been really stupid here, haven't I? I've been really, really stupid. Ricky, I should just play as the right back. He's right-footed. He can play right back competently already. I know he's naturally a left back, but it's not exactly ruining things, is it? To train to play right back. And then Slate can stay as the left back. What was I thinking earlier? Why? Someone's going to have written a comment about this and been like, why is he doing this? You're absolutely right. Slate should be the left back. Ricky will just learn to play right back. And then we just need a centre-back. Sorry, Jones, you can go. Right, let's go find a centre-back. So looking through the centre-backs we've got scouted here, there's actually a lot of centre-backs my scouts have looked at as part of our pre-season assignments. One man who stands out is Harrison Solomon. This guy was playing for Bromley in the National League last year, didn't play a load of football. Prior to that, he'd been playing for Radcliffe and actually did a good job in the National North. So he is the kind of player who I'd be open to signing. Started his career at Derby County. He looks like the kind of centre-back we could be looking for. I feel like if I just compare him with Karen Samuels, just for a benchmark here, he's actually really good, isn't he? He's really, really good at 23. I need to make a contract offer. But first, I'll offer him a trial, because maybe that'll help us get him cheaper. Okay, Abbas is joining us on trial from Burnley, or at least he was at Burnley. He's left Burnley now, so he's not joining us from Burnley. And elsewhere, Solomon is also joining us on trial. Harrison Solomon, how much do you want to hurt me? You're a leading National League player with good potential, good consistency. Okay, he does have some issues with injuries. Let's temper our expectations. If he wants less than £400, I think I'd consider the offer. He wants £1,000. No. Abbas, I don't really need another striker, but I do like the look of you. And if McAvoy's going to annoy me this year and we're at risk of losing Oyatunde, I might need you. He is way better than McAvoy. How much does he want? He wants to be an important player. He wants £425. I'll give you a 2-year deal, mate. Year extension after promotion. I know you love it. Sign the dotted line. I mean, I'm surprised how simple those negotiations were. If I do sign him, I will give him a face. / I'll search for him online, find out who he is, what he looks like, and give him a face. He looks like a very, very good striker for our level, even with his inconsistency. Airbus UK have made an offer for Abbas. Doesn't sound like a real headline, does it? It's somewhat amusing looking at some of the players I've had on trial who I couldn't sign because they wanted too much, like Rio here, going to League One teams on £1,200. Just can't compete with that. I mean, given the fact that Solomon wants £1,000, I do need to still find a centre-back. Let's just make a new recruitment focus. We need a centre-back badly, and I'm talking like starting centre-back. Under the age of 29 would be good. Ongoing. Apparently, our scouts are busy with other assignments, so this will take time. I don't need a fullback anymore. So we'll get rid of that one. Apparently, George Murphy wants to reopen contract negotiations. How much was he asking for before? I think it was like £900. How much do you want now, George? Have you had a think about things and decided to be sensible? The answer is no. He's very, very good, but with his injury proneness, I'm not willing to pay him £600 a week with that promotional wage rise as well. Mental. Port Vale are still looking at Oyatunde. I think it was Tranmere looking at him before, but there are teams sniffing around. No one's matched our valuation that I said I'd sell him for just yet, though. Ducker has turned down Aveley. Okay, I'll offer him out again. £10,000. Surely someone else will bid that amount. Well, I've had some bids for Fabio Ducker. They're all for absolutely nothing. I'm not giving him away. And I have just noticed this here. Adam Abbas is happy to join the club. £400 a week. Not cheap. Do have some concerns about his inconsistency, but I feel like if I am going to lose Oyatunde, Abbas is a player who could step up and fill that void. Maybe not quite as good as a pressing forward. Certainly an upgrade on McAvoy if I decide to go down that route. And at 19 years old for a free transfer, I don't think we can go wrong. Gillam is concerned that Abbas might be taking away some first-team football. How do we tell Gillen gently he might not be needed? I appreciate your concern, but when a player of a certain caliber becomes available, I have to do everything I can to sign him. He hates me. I don't want to get too carried away. Just had this inbox item pop up. Apparently, we are now the bookmakers' favourites for promotion. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Good job, me. I really don't feel like we've added that much to the squad, but then again, Ricky, who we've signed, is in the media dream 11 now. Slater's at the back. Brian Okonkwo's in goal. Oyatunde's up top. Maybe we are good enough to go for another promotion, you know? Oh my god, this is exciting. Squad numbers. I actually get to do squad numbers this year. I feel like I should actually do them properly as well. There's some people who hate squad numbers and think they're unimportant. I'm one of those people. But because this is the first time I'm doing it, I'm going to do it properly. I should say as well, when I say I'm going to do it properly, I'm fully aware that depending on where you're from in the world, you number players differently. So I'm going to be upsetting someone with my numbering. I know not everyone's going to be happy with my numbering here, especially because we do play a weird, narrow shape. But I want everyone to know I really have tried. Love to see this. Vanarama National League North top goal scorer odds. Adam Abbas joins the club, instantly made the favourites. Clearly the media like him. I like him too. I hope he's not going to let us down. I am concerned about the inconsistency, but I'm just hoping that with 15 finishing, 14 composure and some really good pace and acceleration, he can just be that typical non-league pace merchant for us. By the way, the season starts in 2 weeks today. We've made 2 signings so far. I actually quite like both of them. That said, given the fact I think this is just going to be a single transfer special for this summer, and it probably is already a longer video, go down below and leave a like, I feel like we need to get a few more signings done before I wrap up things up today. Should I be concerned that in a pre-season friendly against Bedworth United, Ricky got sent off after 2 minutes? Because it does concern me slightly. I've not looked at loans yet. Is there any good centre-backs available for loan? And by good, I mean I'm going to sort them by value and see who's out there. Interesting to note, there are actually players from championship clubs interested in joining us on loan. Abraham Carnu here. Am I tripping or is he quite good? He's actually quite good. Let's get a scout report. Tom Wilkinson, not quite as exciting. Bradley Moonan, who I was looking to sign. We had him in on trial. He didn't want to join me. He's actually loan listed by Coventry. They wanted me to pay all £500 a week of his wages. Bizarrely, he might be worth it. I mean, when I compare him with Karon Samuels, who's our current centre-back, he would be a very good option, Moonan. It's kind of bizarre. For all the different youth intakes we've had, the one position we've not really got a player in is centre-back. I have got Paul Clark, who we snapped up from Ross County, sat in the under-18s, who's a player who apparently could be ready for first-team football. I don't think he is. But yeah, besides him, there isn't really an exciting young centre-back prospect. On the one hand, Moonan wouldn't be a bad option. On the other hand, if I'm paying him £500 a week, I have to imagine there's got to be a player with a contract that's expired, who's available as a free agent, who's available for £500 a week, who at least maybe has some resale value. Like This guy, Gerald Dorset, Montserrat international. Can't remember the last time I had a player from Montserrat in my team. 24 years old, free agent, was looking at centre-backs with at least one international cap whose contracts are expired. He's popped up. He's very, very good, isn't he? I've really set my heart on him here and bigged him up. He wants £1,300. Never mind. Don't mind me just trialling a load of centre-backs. You know the deal by now. Some of them want to join me, many do not. Maybe one of them will be good enough to actually play for us. I hope they do, because there's a big hole in my defence at the moment. If I can't find anyone, I suppose Freckleton could just play centre-back, couldn't he? Although he is left-footed. Why do I have so many left-footed centre-backs and defenders? Vanarama National League, top player odds. Only one player in this list is our own, and that is Ricky. So maybe Ricky is worth the £625. The media seem to like Ricky. Of all the centre-backs I've trialled, Solomon is still the best, but he wanted £1,000. Maybe if I just hang around with him long enough, he'll lower his demands. The other players we've got here who actually have deceptively low star ratings include Kobe Rowe, who's not bad, but injury-prone at 30 scares me. Charlie Barker, not quite as impressive as some of the other options out there. And the last of the players kind of with at least 3 stars is Dominic Revan, who's very, very smiley, very injury prone, low natural fitness, inconsistent, just loads of stuff not to like. I'm not begging you, Harrison, but if you lower your wage demands just a little bit, I would sign you. Just not for £1,000. Also, Ngoma, have you decided that you want to talk to me again? Not yet. Apparently Ngoma's agent wants to reopen talks. Of course you do. How much does he want? Release clause of 70k. Wages of between 575 and 700. I do like the look of Ngoma a lot. He was released by Crystal Palace, but I don't know if he's quite worth that amount. I mean, I say that knowing that compared to Pritchard, who's probably our starting centre mid option, he is way, way better. Oh, okay, Murphy, let's talk. Let's have a chat. Leading National League player, is inconsistent, playing close to his potential, but he'd still be a useful player for the next few years. What's a non-promotion release clause of £70,000? I mean, that's a bit easier to tolerate. Don't want the promotional wage rise or the yearly wage rise, but I'll offer him a 3-year deal. I'm probably willing to go up to £600 for him. He's asked for 625. Can we do 550? Can we do 550? He really wants 625. 575. He's accepted. Murphy and Ngoma. I think he's probably worth it, you know. He is very, very good, isn't he? All I'm saying is, when you compare him and Maycock, bear in mind they are both 18 years old. Very, very similar molds of players. In fact, Ngoma is about 9 months younger. Ngoma probably is the better player. Probably. You know what? I really hope Ngoma signs for us now because I like the idea of him. I feel like this transfer window is certainly turning into one of those windows where it's not really about the quantity of players coming in. It's about getting a handful of quality players just to help make that transition up the league that little bit smoother. By the way, Ducker, I am currently trying to loan out. I've had lots of offers of absolutely no money whatsoever. People just wanting him for free. I feel like I'd rather loan him out than give him away. I was worried that maybe I'd missed it. It was a year ago the board announced the stadium plans. There's been no updates this summer. Don't necessarily think that's a good thing. I don't want to say I'm getting desperate, but the centre-back options that I've looked at, like, none of them really wow me. I don't necessarily think any of them are better than Talon. And if that's the case, maybe I'm better off just staying with Talon at the back. I mean, he is a right-footed centre-back. Waters then comes onto the bench. Maybe that's just the play. Maybe that's just the play. I have no doubt there are good centre-backs out there. My scouts are looking for them. But rather than rush into signing someone for the start of the season, might as well just be patient. Our money will go further once players lower their demands anyway. Undoubtedly, there's going to be some players like Ngoma who are playing at Premier League clubs, haven't immediately found offers, and are now starting to lower their expectations. We just have to find some of those players whenever they become available before other teams at our level find them. I've just seen a rather familiar face pop up in my scouting recommendations. Brandon Charles is available. Brandon Charles is available. He's super inconsistent. He's very injury prone, but his actual ability in this save game is very, very good. He was a hero of last year's Park to Prem. Release from Southampton. I'm getting an air of deja vu. He plays centre attacking mid and striker. I don't really need a striker, and his injury proneness concerns me. You can see here how good he is. He is a testament to that kind of player I mentioned who will become available. If only he was a centre-back. If only he was a centre-back, he'd be very, very tempting. But sorry, Brandon, you really aren't what I need right now, as good as he is. I don't want to alarm anyone, and Goma's not got back to me. We've got 5 days until the season starts. We're running out of time to get that transfer done. And Goma's trial comes to an end with us tomorrow, and it's recommended we offer him a contract. Just as a reminder, I have already offered him a contract. And Goma, please join us. I know your physicals aren't good. I know you've had a few issues of injuries, but I really feel like you'd be a good player for us. Fabio Ducker is leaving the building. He's going on loan to Siegen in Germany. No idea why they've made a bid for him. I guess it's because he's got German nationality. One of those weird football manager things, but at least they're paying all his wages. We'll keep an eye on him. He's 18 years old. He could really still develop. And as he leaves the club, another man joins the club. Murphy Ngoma signing for £575. That is a lot of money. I'll admit it, but for a player who's very, very comparable in ability to Maycock, is undoubtedly the best midfielder now in our team, I think it's worth a little bit of a punt. You can see here, immediately slots in as one of the top players at the team. At 18 years old, disregarded by Crystal Palace, he's going to get a new lease on life with us. I feel like we're part of his rehabilitation program. You know when animals go out and get injured and then they're brought in and brought back to full health? We're going to do that with Murphy Ngoma. Released after he tore his thigh muscle, he's going to make us £1 million in a year or something, I hope. As long as he doesn't get injured, it's fine. It's not been the flashiest transfer window, but I do feel like we've made 3 really big improvements to the team across the attack, midfield, and defence. I feel like Abbas is going to come in and be our best striker. Oyatunde, still at the club for now. That interest in him has dropped off, but if the bid was to come in of £200,000, I do now feel in a position where I could accept it and not immediately start panicking about how I replace him. Elsewhere, of course, Ngoma's come in to play centre attacking mid, but to be honest, he could easily slot in as a more Mazzalari kind of role for us, potentially even as a striker in the instance of an emergency. And of course, we picked up Ricky at right back, who, well, originally I signed thinking we'll play him left back. I've looked at him more now. Makes way more sense to play him at right back. I think he'll be a good little player for us there. With those players slotting in around the rest of the squad, whilst I would like to get in a new centre-back, besides that, I'm pretty happy with how things are looking right now. Our squad is a little on the large side at 26 players, but actually, in terms of players with potential here who aren't near the first team, like Mike Roberts, with the likes of Ngoma coming into the team, he can probably just move down to the under-18s permanently. Skidmore as well, probably not going to be needed right away. If there are injuries, if I decide I'm not happy with the centre-mid setup, we can, of course, just promote them back to the senior team. If there is a position of minor concern, I suppose it's maybe the number of strikers that we have. I think Callum Gillan might be kind of unhappy with the first team football he gets as potentially our 5th choice striker this year. And of course, when it comes to the centre-back area, whilst we have got 6 players that can play centre-back, I do feel like maybe we're lacking that one player of just a bit more quality at the back. When you look at the entire team by star rating, that is the area of the pitch that perhaps has the biggest, fattest question mark over it. Yeah, sorry, if you're one of those people hoping for one of those manic transfer specials where there's just panicking going on everywhere, I feel like it's been kind of calm. I was happy with the squad going into this summer. I feel like we've added a few key players now, ready for the rest of this season, a promotion push, and there is still plenty of money out there if we do want to make some later additions to the team. I record the transfer specials in little chunks at a time and then save in between just so I can have breaks. This chunk that I've been recording is an hour and a half long. I have no idea how long this entire episode's been, but I hope you've enjoyed each and every minute of it. We start the new season tomorrow. I'll see you guys for it. Let me know what you think of the transfer business, and until next time, it's me, Jack. I'll talk to you in a bit. I'm out.